There's no way I don't see this being successful because of those three reasons specifically. The depth of Elden Ring itself, the lore, all the characters, and everything there is to choose from to make a great story out of. The fact that the director, Alex Garland, has been tried and true as a writer, tried and true as a director, and shown that he is fantastic. And also, A24 Studios has not made very many bad movies. They have made the majority of okay movies and a few great movies. So those three aspects make me think that this is going to be something very special. What up, everybody? I'm Lucky. Channel's Game On, where we just keep gaming on. Today, I want to talk to you about the Elden Ring movie that just recently got announced and confirmed in the making. So excited about this, but something different. What? Oh, you mean this? Since you asked, I got a piece of metal in my eye this week at work. It got infected. I had to take these eye drops to cure it. They said I gotta wear this patch as much as I can, and it has helped, so I'm putting it on as much as I can. See how streaming goes tonight with it, but regardless, it should be okay in a couple of days here. Thanks for asking. Now, back to the more important news, Elden Ring the movie, and why it's going to be awesome. Let's talk about this. So the Elden Ring movie just recently got confirmed, with writer George R. R. Martin being a producer on the credits, as well as director Alex Garland. Now, these are two really good reasons why I think it's going to be bomb. I don't think George R. R. Martin will actually have too much to do with it, but Alex Garland specifically will be a key influence on the movie and is going to actually help write it. And does have quite a good history in directing and writing movies. He started off as a novelist, actually wrote a book called The Beach that was, I believe, turned into a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, if I remember correctly. We'll look into that. Yeah, here we go. Alex Garland, his very first notoriety came with his novel The Beach in 1996, which, like I said, was turned into a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio in it. The plot kind of, Richard, an English backpacker, is given a map to a hidden island beach by a mentally ill Scot going on the alias of Daffy Duck at a hotel in Bangkok. Daffy tells Richard about the beautiful island with a hidden lagoon and beach located in the Gulf of Thailand. Shortly after leaving him the map, Daffy commits. Richard is intrigued, and with traveling French couple Etienne and Francois, seems like a pretty crazy story. I vaguely remember the movie from my mother watching it, but that's where he started out. He also did 28 Days Later, Sunshine, which I've never heard of, Dread, and was a story supervisor on Devil May Cry 2013. Directorial debut came with one of my favorite movies, Ex Machina. I thought it was very ahead of its time, very, very heady. Extremely cool sci-fi thriller about futuristic AI and the dangers of it. And I think it actually won him didn't win him Best Director, it got him nominated for Best Director, excuse me. Then he followed that up with Annihilation in 2018, an adaptation of the 2014 novel of the same name. Wrote and directed and produced the FX miniseries Devs, which I have no idea what that's about. Horror thriller Men, no idea what that's about, and Civil War in 2024, just most recently. Also co-directed Warframe. Warframe actually got very, very good reviews. What was that? Yeah, positive reviews from critics and grossed $32 million in its first week. It's not great, but it's good. Yeah, 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, 4.3 right there. Yeah. Metacritic 78, IMDb 7.4. Civil War also got decent reviews, 81% on Rotten Tomatoes, 7 out of 10 on IMDb. I don't know what Letterboxd is, but regardless, the point I'm trying to make is his movies have been well received. He is a good director, and he is a good writer based on The Beach, Ex Machina, Warframe, Civil War. He's shown writing chops and directing chops. So I think that's one reason this is going to be a great, great movie. The second reason is the fact that A24 Studios is involved with it. Now, A24 Films is a studio that came out in 2012, was founded by three guys, and they've had their hands in a lot of movies since then. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the movies that A24 has actually done. These are all upcoming. Oh, they're doing that new movie about the Smashing Machine. Mark Kerr with The Rock in it. That's cool. Not going to show me there. Look at images for it. Machina, Uncut Games, Civil War, The Witch, Brutalist, Moonlight, Everything All at Once. They're all like kind of like, I don't know, B-grade movies, except Ex Machina. I think that's a really, really high-class movie. Almost like high-end indie movies, you know what I mean? A lot of these are just like really good movies that didn't have a huge budget to them or anything like that. Ideas. This one grossed 15 million USD. No way. That's all? These are budgets. Okay, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Yeah, see how small the budgets were, guys? 15 million USD. That's crazy small for a movie. Hella small. And that's probably because there weren't that many actors in Ex Machina. I think there was the main guy, his boss, the artificial intelligence lady. I think that was it. I think those were the only actual actors in the movie. Moonlight, only 1.5 million. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy, man. So they're really good at taking a little bit of money and big ideas and exploring them and executing them at a fairly high level. Like I said, a lot of these got fairly well reviewed, fairly well rated. What did Ex Machina get reviewed at? Let's see. Yeah, 92% Rotten Tomatoes, 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb. And I thought it was an excellent movie. I thought it was, 90% for sure. Innovative, intriguing, thought-provoking, well executed. The visuals were great. The music was fantastic. I think it won Best Score that year. So between A24 and our director, Alex Garland, I think this movie has a real good chance at being something special. The third reason I think this is going to be something special is Elden Ring itself. Elden Ring is so deep and densely packed with lore from top to bottom and so many different characters and directions you can choose to go with it. How do you not have something interesting and intriguing come out of that? I mean, something kind of like Game of Thrones, right? Dark and gritty, with characters that are realistic and believable, but in a high dark fantasy setting. I think that could be fantastic. What I would like to see would be the Tarnished journey to become Elden Lord over the lands between, specifically, and just stick to the main script and not go off on the Ronnie or the Frenzied Lord or anything like that too much. Maybe nod here or there to it, but stick to the main story more than anything else, because there's so much in Elden Ring I feel like you get lost fairly quickly. If you just want to make a single movie, I think that is the best route. Stick to the Elden Lord aspect of it and direction with it. But along the route, there's so many different characters you can explore. Blythe can have some play, Ronnie can have some play, they can all have some play, right? Now, not to mention the visuals. The visuals in Elden Ring are absolutely splendid. The art direction is fantastic, one of a kind, and super unique. You know it when you see it, and it makes you feel right at home when you're in it. Being able to utilize artificial intelligence nowadays, I'm sure you guys have seen some of the cinematics out there that are fantastic, very, very cool. Some of the lore-driven little videos on YouTube that we've all watched and seen. They can execute something extremely, extremely good here. I keep saying execute is the main thing, right? Execute, execute, execute at a very high level. I expect this to be executed at a very high level. I mean, basically for the fact that this game has sold so many copies and is so popular and has a ton of funding behind it and a bunch of positive attitude already towards it and good vibes. There's no way I don't see this being successful because of those three reasons specifically. The depth of Elden Ring itself, the lore, all the characters and everything there is to choose from to make a great story out of. The fact that the director, Alex Garland, has been tried and true as a writer, tried and true as a director, and shown that he is fantastic. And also, A24 Studios has not made very many bad movies. They have made the majority of okay movies and a few great movies. So those three aspects make me think that this is going to be something very special. Now, let's talk a little bit about this article right here from the playlist, which is where I believe this was first reported from. So much for the potential retirement for Alex Garland. Reports that Warfare and Civil War director has a new project over at A24, and it's the same one rumors have swirled around about in recent weeks. Garland's next movie, a live-action Elden Ring, based on the 2022 video game from Bandai Namco, comes a little surprised that A24 wants to make something based on Elden Ring, one of the most popular action RPGs of the 2020s. Probably the most popular in my opinion. Alex Garland directing it. That should raise some eyebrows, especially since he's never done dark fantasy before, or at least not like this game. But I beg to differ. I bring Ex Machina up again. I think that is very dark and very fantastic in a sci-fi thriller kind of way, right? Using the imagination to kind of explore the bounds of what could be possible. I think that aspect right there shows that he does have the right mind for this, even though he hasn't done a high dark fantasy or a high fantasy before. Swords and dragons might be a little bit different, but I think the same kind of dark, gritty aspects that he applied in Ex Machina can be applied here too. Peter Rice will produce the pick with Andrew McDonald and Alan Reek via DNA, with George R. R. Martin and Vince Scarardi's also producing. No idea who Vince is. I think was he on Game of Thrones, the show? Game of Thrones creator Martin wrote the story for Elden Ring, so naturally is involved. Created by From Software's Created by From Software's Hideaki Miyazaki, Elden Ring lets players embark on adventures across a massive medieval fantasy world that include dungeons, dragons, and more. The original game has sold over 30 million copies. Man, releasing worldwide on May 30th, is Elden Ring Night Reign, which is going to probably sell a ton more copies, honestly, and probably more copies of the original game just because that comes out. As noted, Garland tackling dark fantasy is a mild shocker, but the director worked with A24 certainly isn't. 4 of Garland's 5 movies behind the camera were made with the studio, including 2014's breakout Ex Machina, 2021's Men, Civil War, Warfare, the only outlier, 2018's Annihilation, which Paramount distributed. They produced Danny Boyle's 2002 Zombie Pick 28 days later, with Garland penning its screenplay, and all involved in Boyle's new follow-up 28 years later. Now see, he's still been involved with writing throughout his career, even though he's become a director. As for budget, casting, and shooting schedule for Garland's Elden Ring film, it's all a mystery for now. Garland's turnover between Civil War and Warfare, was quite rapid. That's because he and Warfare co-director Ray Mendoza developed that movie while shooting Civil War. In that case, expect at least a couple years before Elden Ring hits theaters, and then will Garland retire for that project? Chances are probably not. Yeah, I expect it to take at least 2 to 3 years in production. And I don't really know anything about movie industry. Now, to wrap things up, let's read Bandai Namco's actual announcement on their website about the live-action film adaptation of Elden Ring. This was announced May 22nd, 2025. Bandai Namco Entertainment, an A24 launch film project with Alex Garland as director. Bandai Namco Entertainment and A24 today announced their collaboration with writer-director Alex Garland for a live-action film, an adaptation of FromSoft's world-renowned video game Elden Ring. Elden Ring was created under the guidance from FromSoftware Hideki Miyazaki, based on a mythology story written by George R. R. Martin, author of the fantasy novel Song of Fire and Ice. Bring an epic world and intense action of Elden Ring to film, the project will be led by filmmaker Alex Garland, Ex Machina Civil War Warframe, as writer and director. The film will be produced by Peter Rice, along with Andrew McDonald, Alan Reach from DNA, and George R. R. Martin and Vince Gerardis. Elden Ring is an action RPG set in the authentic dark fantasy world. The game allows players to explore vast environments and dungeons to discover the unknown and enjoy the sense of accomplishment that comes from overpowering obstacles and challenges. Combining the development capabilities of FromSoftware and the marketing power of Bandai Namco Entertainment overseas network, this title was released on February 25th, 2022, has shipped over 30 million units worldwide. Elden Ring spin-off Elden Ring Night Reign is set for simultaneous worldwide release on Friday, May 30th, 2025. The title is an action game where players cooperate to overcome a variety of challenging situations. While carrying over elements from Elden Ring, such as weapons, enemies, the game has been redesigned to provide players with a completely new gameplay experience. Players will choose from a cast of unique characters to face off against a new threat. Now we know all about that. Elden Ring Tarnished Edition, all-in-one version of Elden Ring for Nintendo Switch, is set to release 2025 in June. Anyways, that's just all about the Switch stuff. We don't really care about that right now. So just a general announcement. It is crazy how FromSoftware, since Sony acquired Kodokawa and is actually part owner of Elden Ring now, how we're starting to see some of the media capabilities of Sony push the IPs of, say, like Elden Ring here into more movie spaces and cinematic spaces. I was surprised we didn't see an anime first, honestly. I'm surprised we're seeing a live-action film very first thing. I thought we'd see maybe a mini-series or an anime to test the waters right off the bat, but they're going right into a live-action. That's cool. That's really cool. I also thought it would be Bloodborne right off the bat, but foolish me, always hoping and dreaming for more Bloodborne stuff. I should have known that that was never going to be a possibility with Sony owning that IP. But it is amazing to me that FromSoftware, like I said, is branching out in all these different directions ever since that Kodokawa-Sony merger. Acquisition of Kodokawa by Sony, excuse me. Now you're seeing them do exclusives for the Switch with Dustblood, seeing them do Night Reign, you know what I mean? And now this movie. What's going to be next, I wonder? When are we going to see Dark Souls 4? When are we going to see Elden Ring 2? Like an actual one? Are we going to ever? If these become successful and work, is this what it's going to be from now on? Just using the existing IPs to make more cinematics, movies, animes, TV shows, and whatnot? If it's good, I'll be there watching it. If it's not, I'll be really bummed out. I think this movie is going to be excellent for the 3 reasons I stated before. The director Alex Garland, the studio A24, and the fact that Elden Ring is Elden Ring. Always amazing. I'm lucky. Channel's game on. We just keep gaming on. See you guys in the next one. Peace.